Welcome to Mastering Enterprise Resource Planning, Strategies for Business Success. Module 4, Planning and Preparing for ERP Implementation. Hello and welcome back to ERP Lectures, where we break down the nuts and bolts of enterprise resource planning. I'm Sir Arsel, and today we're diving into one of the most critical phases of any ERP journey, planning your implementation. Now, I know project planning might sound a bit dry, but honestly, it's the difference between a smooth rollout and, well, a total disaster. I've seen it firsthand. Without a solid roadmap, projects get delayed, budgets spiral, and everyone's left scratching their heads wondering what went wrong. So let's talk about what makes a project plan actually work. First up, you've got to define your scope and deliverables. This is where you get really clear about what your ERP implementation is actually going to cover. Are you rolling out inventory management, procurement, finance modules? Or maybe you're leaving sales and CRM for a later phase? You want to document your requirements, list out the modules, and specify any integration points with your existing systems. It's all about setting expectations and avoiding that dreaded scope creep. Once you've nailed down the scope, it's time to break things into manageable pieces. That's where the Work Breakdown Structure, or WBS, comes in. Think of it as taking your big, intimidating project and chopping it up into bite-sized tasks. You start with major phases like planning, design, development, testing, deployment, and support. Then you break each phase down further. So under testing, for example, you'd have unit testing, integration testing, user acceptance testing, and so on. Each task gets an owner and a timeline, which makes it much easier to track progress and hold people accountable. Now, about timelines. This is where things can get a bit tricky. You want to be realistic, not overly optimistic. Milestones are your friends here. Maybe you set a milestone for completing data migration by week 8 and user acceptance testing by week 12. These checkpoints help you spot bottlenecks early. Actually, on a previous project, I used MS Project to visualize the entire timeline. It was a game changer for aligning the team and spotting where things might get stuck before they became real problems. And here's the thing, a project plan isn't something you write once and forget about. It's a living document. You've got to keep everyone in the loop with regular status meetings. Use tools like MS Project or Jira for real-time updates and be ready to adjust when things change. If a vendor delay pops up, update the plan, let everyone know, and adjust your resources. It's all about transparency and keeping the team moving in the same direction. So that's the foundation. Define your scope, break it down, set a realistic timeline, and keep the lines of communication open. All right, so you've got your plan. Now you need the right people to bring it to life. Building a cross-functional team is absolutely essential. I mean, ERP touches every corner of your business. So you need folks from IT, finance, operations, sales, the whole lot. Without that mix, you risk missing requirements or running into roadblocks you didn't see coming. Let's talk roles. You'll want a project manager to keep things on track, business process owners from key departments to make sure their needs are met, IT specialists for all the technical heavy lifting, and someone focused on change management. Because let's face it, people don't always love change. Oh, and don't forget quality assurance analysts to make sure the system actually works as intended. For example, in a manufacturing rollout, having the supply chain manager as a business process owner made all the difference. They caught issues early that would have been missed otherwise. But it's not just about job titles. You need people with the right skills, deep business knowledge, technical chops, and maybe most importantly, strong communication skills. Collaboration is where things can get a bit messy, especially when you've got people from different departments with their own priorities and ways of working. Regular meetings are a must. Weekly check-ins, shared dashboards, and collaborative tools like project management software. And don't underestimate the power of a good escalation path. Sometimes you need a clear way to resolve conflicts or bottlenecks before they derail the project. One last thing, executive sponsorship. It's easy to overlook, but having a leader who champions the project, allocates resources, and removes roadblocks is huge. I've seen projects where the CFO regularly attended team meetings, and it sent a clear message. This project matters. It kept the team motivated and sped up decision-making. So, assemble your team carefully, foster open communication, and make sure you've got leadership backing you up. Now, let's get into risk management and contingency planning. Probably not the most glamorous part of ERP, but absolutely vital. ERP projects are complex, and there are so many things that can go sideways. Technical glitches, operational hiccups, budget overruns, you name it. The key is to spot these risks early and have a plan for what you'll do if they actually happen. Start by identifying your risks. You've got technical risks, like software bugs or integration headaches. Operational risks, like business disruptions or lack of user training. Financial risks, think budget overruns. And even external risks like regulatory changes. If you catch that risk early, you can plan for it, maybe by scheduling the cutover during a slow period or having extra support on hand. Once you've listed your risks, you need to assess them. How likely are they to happen, and how big of an impact would they have? For example, data loss during migration is usually high impact and high likelihood, so you'd want a solid mitigation plan there, while something less likely might just go on the watch list. Contingency planning is all about having a playbook ready. For each high-priority risk, you want to define trigger conditions, so you know exactly when to act, response actions, who's responsible, and how you'll communicate with stakeholders. If you're worried about vendor delays, maybe you line up alternative suppliers or adjust your schedule in advance. You've got to keep reviewing and updating your plans as the project evolves. New risks pop up, old ones fade away, and you need to stay agile. So, to wrap up, embedding risk management and contingency planning into your ERP roadmap gives you the resilience to handle whatever comes your way. Define your risks, prioritize them, build your contingency plans, and keep those lines of communication open. That's how you set yourself up for a successful ERP rollout. Thanks for joining me today. There's plenty more to cover in future lectures, so stay tuned and keep planning smart. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of our future uploads. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover next, let me know. If you prefer more detailed info, you can grab a copy of Mastering Enterprise Resource Planning: Strategies for Business Success.